Hey, good morning. It's another Tuesday morning teaching tip. I'm here with Bev Landers. Today we're going to talk about something a little different. I had a friend in high school when I lived in Southern California. She was one of the cast members at Disneyland, and she always told me about just how attentive they were to things being perfect. She even just acknowledged that they themselves, always had to be in character when they were present, and there is literally a sub-city below Disneyland where people can just be normal people, but when everything is above ground there, it's got to be perfection. Maybe let's talk about that a little bit, as far as the that creation of perfection and the impact that has on us as people.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Brian. Yes, I recently read an amazing blog by my favorite children's pastor, Sam Luce. That's Luce. And he puts out a weekly blog, and his last week was one of the most profound messages I've heard. It has to do with a comparison of the world that Walt Disney created to present to our children versus that of Mr. Rogers. Walt Disney has created a phenomenal family experience, which really mirrors what we as parents hope for our children. We all have a desire to raise our children in a very idyllic, perfect world. And boy, 2020 has made us realize how difficult that is, which brings in Mr. Rogers. So I'm just going to read actually some excerpts from Sam Luce's blog this week, and highly encourage you, samluce.com. I encourage you to go and read the full article when you have time. He says here, when you look at the aesthetics of the two kingdoms that they both built, they reflect how each saw the world. Walt's world was a perfect version of what our world should look like. His world is shiny songs playing everywhere. Every restaurant serves chicken strips and hot dogs. Never any dust or chip paint. Excellence and creativity abound. Fred's world was simple, even plain. His puppets showed wear, and his set grew old along with Fred. Two worlds trying to reach the same kids. The two kingdoms they built were the result of two visions of the world. Walt created a world that was an escape from the real world. Fred lived in a neighborhood and showed kids how to navigate through the real world. There's nothing wrong with fantasy. Kids need fairy stories. Walt's world, on the whole, is an escape from reality, sustained by entertainment. You enter the park and enter the world as it should be. No trash on the ground, no gum on the sidewalk, no tear in any eye. It's perfect. It plays to our right desire for a better world. It reminds us in miniature form that our world, the real world, is a shadow, and our hearts long for the perfect world free of sin and pain. Reminds us of heaven, doesn't it? The longing for heaven. Yeah. Fred's world has fantasy elements in it, but Fred never lied. He said we're going to a land of make-believe. His fiction was grounded in reality and founded in faith. Fred lived in a neighborhood like you and me. His set was old, his puppets were tired, but he connected with kids in a way that few others have. Mr. Rogers had friends come by who struggled with difficult issues like divorce, physical disability, and even race. He didn't create an alternative universe by which he could escape reality. He lived in the house and he told kids when make-believe was happening. He used fairy stories to smuggle truth. Brian, it just reminds me how important in this COVID season that we talk reality with our children, and that we give and instill in them God's truth as we prepare them for the reality that this life is broken and that it is not a perfect world. The perfect places like Disneyland are wonderful to visit, and they do reinstate our longing for that perfection, which we will achieve in heaven. But for now, we need to take Mr. Rogers' approach and talk honestly with them about that life is broken here.
Yeah. As a father of 4 girls, we would watch Disney movies all the time. We basically would live on those. And we have to perpetually remind our girls that there is no perfect man. There's no one, no person is going to come around and save you other than the God-man, Jesus Christ. And so as we look at things like Disney, these are a reminder that ultimate perfection is in Christ Jesus, and so He's the one we look to. But in this world we live in, it is a broken world. I think there's a lot we can learn from Fred Rogers, but more importantly from Jesus Christ.
Yes. Thank you.